Get me a hot tea.
I will. See if this is working. You are live. What up?
We're live already?
I know, I don't even have the tea out.
Already.
We're late.
Yeah, what time is it?
It's like 8:47.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. Got freedom flight to me in Colorado. Donkey watch. Hello. Awesome.
Good evening.
Everyone says good morning. Well, morning you too. Leo. Hi. Sound minds. Hi. Thumbs up. Aaron's got hi from Washington. What's up?
Hey. Neighbor.
Oh, we have an echo? Uh-oh. Anybody else have an echo? We're echoing. That's not normal. Turn this down.
Check. I said check 3 times. Did it come out more than 3 times?
Okay. Do I still have echo? It says keep talking.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Excel says perfect. We're good. All right. We're good. Rock on. Rude dog, Wisconsin Auditor Rudolph says hello. Freedom fight better. All right, cool. What's up, people? I echo? Oh. Okay, I'll just share his. Hang on.
Do you want to share my mic?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. You have to get closer.
I'm terrible. Aww.
There you go.
All right. The echo is so bad. All right, how about that? Is that better? Aussie 1, important question. Better. Echo's gone. All right.
Hey-yo.
Actually, you talk quiet. You keep it. I'm loud.
Okay.
There you go.
What's the important question?
I don't know. It just said important question. And then I'm assuming they are typing the important question.
Okay.
Oh, will you be growing the beard back? It's currently growing.
Yes. Just need to encourage the growth. Tapiosi Ding. What do you think about the recent aggressive police tactics against auditors? Such as, I haven't been tracking a lot of the stuff in the auditing community.
Anthony says, Mrs. Blind Justice? Yes.
I've actually been down most of the last few days with the migraine, so I haven't been tracking much of anything.
Pretty shitty. I don't think I'm supposed to say that on YouTube.
You're gonna get banned.
Convicted for cursing.
Oh, is that Mexican Padilla? Is that what you're talking about? I think I caught.
That lower court ruling on free speech.
Yeah, I caught that. I think it was a municipal court. Whatever. It's somebody that's paid by a mayor. Some guy or gal that just puts on robes, calls himself judge, and is paid by the mayor. Like handpicked usually by, typically it's how it works. Handpicked by somebody calling themselves mayor to uphold their silly codes and policies at the city level. So it doesn't really mean anything other than they're trying to steal money from Mexican Padilla, which is, crap. But hopefully, I don't know, he can appeal it and take it up to have it flipped over. But I'm not following it that close. I don't know if he's put in an appeal or not. No idea.
What are your plans? Freedom Flight says, if any, what are your plans about the courthouse with backpacks? I'm behind a couple videos.
Yeah. We went back the next day after I think the last one we have posted, where they put hands on me and tried to drag me out. They, literally, sat down and they were trying to drag me across the floor, and then they picked me up and put me back down.
Tried to take his cane.
Yeah, tried taking my cane away. So I went back the next day with Taz News Tacoma. He went with me.
Yeah, he's like, I'm coming.
And maybe it was just Taz magic. Maybe they just didn't want to mess with Taz. They're like, man, Taz is legit. And because we went back the following day and first stopped at the sheriff's department to talk to Brad, who's in the video. I think at the end, when the Montesano police guys, we walk over there to figure out where to file complaints and stuff. And I talked to Brad prior to going to the courthouse, which is funny because initially I tried giving Brad the paperwork that I wanted to hand to the prosecutor's office. She's like, oh, you can just give it to her. So I went over to the to do that, and that's what the whole reason I went in there. And they wanted to make a big deal out of the backpack thing again. I'm like, okay, well, I came prepared in case you want to do this. Here's your own little statute that you're claiming applies. It doesn't apply. And they wanted to get physical. So then we went to go handle that at the sheriff's department because they have oversight. Talked to Brad. He ended up taking the stuff that I wanted to hand to the prosecutor, so I didn't have to go back through the courthouse again that day. And we went to the sheriff's department, me and Taz, the next day, and I think talked to Brad again, and said, hey, did you get the videos that we posted of this assault? Did you check it? And he said he saw one of them. And I was like, okay, what about the video security footage from inside the courthouse of the security checkpoint? Did you check that and review it? Anybody want to guess? Of course, I can't read it. Guess what he said when I asked if he'd reviewed the footage from inside the courthouse. I'll let the guesses come in. Huh? You want to come read stuff? Yeah, come on. So I asked him to guess what Brad said when I asked if he reviewed the courthouse footage. So, see if they have any guesses.
Oh, guessing. Hold on.
It just got uncomfortable. It's gonna rain.
Oh, I'm sorry. They didn't work. He was busy watching porn.
The first part is correct. Yeah, he claims that they were not running during the period of time when the security guards assaulted me at the security checkpoint. Surprised?
Anyone surprised? I see no surprised faces.
Yeah. They didn't have any
Hi, Debbie.
any video evidence of them, being violent and breaking a handful of laws at the security checkpoint.
Convenient.
So, yeah. And of course, my footage isn't great because the body cam's oriented forward and they were attacking from behind, and I wasn't really doing well with keeping the phone oriented behind me.
No, they're
so it doesn't show
trying
much.
to take your cane out of your hand.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
So then we followed up with that. Taz and I was like, well, let's go try to put in an official records request at the courthouse. So let's go talk to the court clerk. And so when we went through the security checkpoint, same backpack, same camera gear and snacks and other, I think I have some other medical supplies and stuff in there. Go through the checkpoint, they scan it. I think it was the same lady scanned it, and she said something like, well, you know how this is going to go, or something. I forget what she said. It's something along those lines. So I handed over the backpack, she scans it, they wand me again, and I think the guy sounded familiar. It was a different guy from the previous day. It may have been their supervisor, security guard supervisor, because I talked to him, I think, the first time with the backpack stuff. And after he wanded me, I went over to get my bag back. He asked about, if there's a battery pack in there. I pulled it out, like, here you go, it's backup batteries for the camera. He's like, all right, cool. picked up my bag, put it on my back. I asked where the clerk's office was. He directed us, and we walked through the courthouse. Taz and I walked through the courthouse together with my bag on my back, unmolested. So that was the next day. I think the day, maybe that same day. Was it the same day? When we were, I can't remember. It may have been the same day or the day after that. We got a phone call from Brad from the sheriff's department saying that he had a meeting with, I guess, people in the admin side of the sheriff's department and the courthouse, and they are changing their policy about bags and backpacks now. So they're going to allow them into the courthouse. I think they're going to just search, after scanning them through, then do a cursory search of the bag for weapons. So he was explaining that that's why that checkpoint, the security point was put in, because they had an attack where I think there was gunfire. I think at one point one of the judges was stabbed. So they've had a few different incidents of some violent attacks there, and it was to safeguard the people at the courthouse. And with that, it was just like wholesale, no bags that can be worn on your back specifically. If you hold them in your hand, you're okay.
Because you don't carry dangerous things in anything else.
That's right.
People
Briefcases,
only use
purses,
backpacks.
yeah. So anyway, they're addressing that and going to change the policy. So that's the update on that. You wrote something down?
Oh, someone suggested that you get a Vivitar 360 cam to mount to your hat. They have one mounted to their hats. Who was it? I lost it. Neo Raiden Investigative Media.
Yeah, it'd be like up top, somewhere like on the crown, so it gets everywhere.
Yeah. You look a little epic.
Yeah, put it like on a pinwheel.
No, don't spin it. I like the idea. It's got one mounted to their hat.
Cool.
I think that would be handy because there are often times when you don't get to see a lot.
Yeah.
Aussie1 says, Mrs. Blind Justice, do you go on most audits? What's your stress like when Mr. Blind Justice goes on his own? He does what he does. I don't stress out, and I do have a moment when I see the YouTube live. I'm like, shit, what's going on? Because that's a lot of effort to get into the YouTube live from your phone anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's especially if my hardware is not behaving right, which my phone has been really acting weird last week or so.
You had an update recently too, didn't you?
Yeah, I think the iOS updated, but hopefully we'll chalk it up to that. Hopefully we'll chalk it up to Apple screwing around and not, the government screwing around on my phone. But don't put it past anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the voiceover assistance thing I use drops randomly on me, and which sucks, which means I can't use my phone. So I'll tell it to turn on, and it's like, it's on. I'm like, okay, if you can tell me it's on, then you should be able to tell me everything else. And it's not telling me anything else. And so then I turn off my headset, like maybe my headset's messing up. Turn my headset back on, it pairs. Try to do things. So then I restart the phone. When I restart the phone, it seems to fix it. It's a pain in the butt, especially if I'm trying to record and do stuff on my phone.
Yeah, you drug across the floor.
Yeah. What else we got? Any other questions? I think that's like the main update for that.
Let's see.
You can field some comments or questions. We do have maybe a little other updates, but not much.
Neo Raiden Investigative Media said they can send us how to do the 360 cam thing.
Cool.
Yeah. insightisfree@gmail.com. Hard reset the phone? Ugh.
Yeah, right?
Don't want to do that. Clash in Canada. Yeah, have you tried to hard reset it, delete the app, reinstall the voiceover app? It happens to me constantly.
Yeah. Well, VoiceOver is not an app. It's actually built into the iOS. It's part of the operating system.
Cop Cam can help.
Oh yeah, I recently found him through Eric Brandt, and I know he builds phones and things. So good call.
Thanks, mystery. Hey, what's up? Where's your favorite place to audit? Big giant blue question mark. How'd you do that? That's okay.
Favorite
Oh,
place?
I see it. Emoji.
I don't know. And so this is what I've been doing, some soul searching while surfing migraine stuff last few days on this whole channel that we're doing. And I enjoy engaging with people, especially face to face. You guys are great online because I have somebody that can help me engage with you. And I enjoy helping people grow and learn and develop. And these videos offer that, even when there's, they're quote unquote passes, right? If we go, for instance, Cosmopolis, one of the towns nearby, we went, and every time we've been there, checking up, they've been pretty good at not freaking out about the camera or about me asking questions, or but there's still things for improvement, right? The police department only has stairs to have access, so that's an ADA issue. There's trees that are planted in the middle of the walkway that are have low branches and as hazards. So there's things that we point out, like basically everywhere we go. There's areas of improvement, areas that people may not be aware are out of their own codes. They're not following their own rules, right? So there's just on that level, there's areas to discuss things that they may or may not be aware of to improve. But it doesn't even have to be even that obvious or that something so tangible. I like trying to have conversations about people about why they're in the positions they're in, and then even their mindset about it. And that's difficult, especially when they're on the clock and once they realize the conversation's shifting from a tangible thing they can address and fix to more of a worldview and addressing, their reasons for being in the position. A lot of it boils down to they just got to make the donuts. They just got to. This is what they can do to make money to survive. That's what they believe anyway. Right. So this has been an excuse for millennia. People not going with their conscience, not going with their sense of morals or ethics, or whatever you want to call it, their worldview. Because if they did, they stood up against their bosses or the rules or whatever, then they'd get fired. They'd lose their job, docked pay or something. So I don't know. I don't really have a favorite place. I like people. I enjoy discussing issues with people and real issues, not just hey, you're not, the sign is a hazard to people. Yeah, that. Don't get me wrong. I think because I think some people have reached out and saying that they knew of a person that was visually impaired and ran into a tree on the sidewalk, and it bumped them out into the road and they got run over. So there's an actual cause and reason for, like a legitimate safety reason for trying to get some of these things corrected. I don't know. Do you want to chime in here?
Your favorite place to audit is where the humans are.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a little digging to find the human.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't necessarily audit, but I don't know, just seeing you You look for the people.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
remind them that they're human.
That's it. I try to have real human-to-human conversations, and a lot of times the people in these places have this sense of entitlement. Maybe we should have listed this video as entitlement, because that word has been co-opted and thrown around. You know, entitlement is an issue that people, as a buzzword that people have been throwing around for, I don't know, the last decade or so. And I think there's a misunderstanding of it. If you go back to the etymology, to the root, like where it came from, it was where you had people with titles like noblemen and royals and monarchs and whatever, would basically say, hey, I need help controlling the populace. I need to make little smaller subsections of my kingdom to be ruled by other people. So then they would find people of wealth or status, or people that did great deeds, for the kingdom, and they would entitle them, literally entitle them. They would give them a title. Here's a title. You're now the baron of whatever. You have these lands. You have this magical power to enforce it and use whatever you want. Make your own rules, as long as they don't violate my rules, because I'm the higher, sovereign. That's where the word entitlement comes from. And if you pay attention to any of these audits, not just mine, but any of them, that's what the people with the camera run up against. They go into a place and they run up to all these people that have titles. Hi, I'm the chief of police. Hi, I'm officer so-and-so. I'm sergeant so-and-so. I'm mayor so-and-so. I'm, clerk, county clerk, or whatever. All these different titles that they have been given by some other people with titles, right? So it's literally entitlement that you're up against. And it's this persona, like to go back to a previous chat we've had on our live. They wear this mask. They wear this identity that's not their own, right? It's not the real human. They put on this other mask to fit whatever they think goes with that title. And so it's tricky to try to get through to the human a lot of times, to try to have that conversation. But,
It just reminded me of the guy, non-aggression person. No, communication.
NBC?
That's it. Nonviolent communication.
Mm-hmm. Marshall Rosenberg?
Yeah, they say that I've never met a baker,
Right.
but I've met a human who bakes.
Right.
And I've never met a whatever the label is. But
Yeah.
I've met a human who does something, certain things.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we kind of ran into that the last city council meeting in Aberdeen. One of the people sitting up at the front in the city council seats, she's like, well, I'd like to meet with you, but I don't know, because you called us all thieves. You said we all steal money. I'm like, no, I've never actually called you a thief or anybody here. I try really hard not to judge or call people names, even your titles, because it's not actually you, And she's like, well, you said that taxation is theft. Well, yes, absolutely. The act of taxation is absolutely theft. Like, you're taking things against people's will. That's theft. Sure. And she's like, well, so that's splitting hairs. And I'm like, well, no, it's not. Like, you're assigning the action to a person's identity. And I say that, no, people are humans, and they may do things that are very life-promoting and pleasant, or they may do things very destructive and not pleasant. But that doesn't mean that's who they are.
Agreed.
We got any more questions, comments?
Yeah, the real Jingy was talking about street epistemology.
Yeah.
And posted a couple comments about that, which was cool. I highlighted it, but it's been a minute.
Yeah,
So
we may focus more on that with the
Always.
channel, and just try to have conversations with people. I mean, that's really what I've been trying to do anyway. It's just a lot of times it's really, really hard to get through the ego. And I think that's from the very first videos that we posted. That's some of the very first comments we had from people. Like, this ego is so thick, it's really hard to have a conversation, because they don't want to actually discuss the reality and what's going on, what are the actual actions that each party has taken, right? That it's a perceived The lady was scared because you had a scarf and you didn't answer questions. Like, well, no, I didn't come in with a scarf on, and I did answer every question. Like, I put a scarf on after there was a smell, right? So there's this weird twist of the reality on how it was perceived. There's another interesting conversation. I don't know if we posted it. It may have been one of the ones with Brad when he was talking about beliefs and facts and hypotheticals. Did we post
No,
that
that's
one yet?
coming up next.
Okay, so that's
in the work. It's in the shoot.
was that before I went over and they
before they
threw me around. Okay.
drug you across the ground.
So yeah, so that's an interesting chat where I was trying to have this conversation, not necessarily with Brad, because this is when I first met Brad. It was with a different
Darren Wallace.
Yeah, Darren Wallace at the sheriff's department, and we were checking up on the armed home invasion when the Aberdeen Police Department busted into our house last summer, with guns drawn. No warrant, no probable cause, no reasonable articulable suspicion. They got a phone call from somebody who said that they thought somebody was breaking in the house. No signs of forcible entry. We had people living with us for several months that had lived in the downstairs apartment area, and didn't matter. They ordered the guy out, threw him in chains, busted into the house anyway. So we did the complaint at the Aberdeen Police Department. They investigated themselves and found no wrongdoing, of course. We took it to the sheriff's department, and he kind of scoffed at us. I think that our video on that is police to police, and he's like, well, it sounds like they're just doing their job. I'm like, well, you investigate this. They didn't have any of these things. They didn't have any legitimate legal reason to bust into our house with their guns out. And he's like, yeah, I guess I can call. I mean, I don't know what to do. I'm like, you investigate the crime. What do you mean you don't know what to do? You're a criminal investigator, right? That's what you claim, the title that you're claiming, criminal investigator. So anyway, this guy had been out for a while, off and on, I guess, for medical leave. And so we've been trying to catch up with them. We finally did the day of the backpack, like this week, where they were throwing me around in the courthouse. So this is prior to that. And he comes out and it's like, well, yeah, I followed up. I called the chief of police, and he said that we already talked about this, and there's a report. I'm like, so did you actually investigate it? Like, well, that's all I did. I'm like, okay. All right. So then Brad was there for that, and he jumped in the conversation, and he talked about how it's all hypothetical. The whole situation of the guys coming into our house was all hypothetical. And I'm like, no, it's facts, dude. There's video, audio evidence. Like, they made reports about it. Like, there's eyewitness testimony about it. Like, in their records, like, it's not hypothetical. And he's like, well, it's hypothetical to me because I haven't reviewed the facts. I haven't reviewed the case. I don't think he would say facts. It's a very interesting conversation. Like, we'll try to get it up soon.
Yeah.
But at one point, he was saying that if he, I don't know exactly how he worded it. It was just he was intermixing the terms belief and fact. Like, if he believed it, if he believed it to be true, it was a fact, and it was really, really bizarre encounter. And
yeah, I'll try to get that one up.
Yeah.
By morning, so you guys can.
Yeah, I was pointing out. Well, just because you're ignorant of the facts doesn't mean it's hypothetical. It just means that you're ignorant of the facts.
And just because I believe it doesn't mean it's a fact. And if you believe that my belief equals fact, or that your belief equals fact, then let's go talk to the people that are in cages in the other room and see how many of them believe that they're innocent.
Right.
And would like to leave, and then we'll do that.
Yeah, it was a bizarre chat. So that's what we try to do. We try to have real conversations with people. A lot of times they don't want to. They want to get real. They want to throw down their ego, their title, and expect you to bow down and back off.
Force, Majeure.
Okay.
I don't know how to say it.
Force major.
Oh, that was easy. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It says, hi, I'm new here. What is your mission statement?
Mission statement.
To ease suffering.
Yeah, basically.
To liberate the oppressed.
Yeah.
How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. I got it.
Yeah. Any way we can.
Yes, true.
Yeah, that's why we've been reevaluating, like,
the
nature of the videos and stuff, and there are areas where they fix signs, and in Elma we were there the other day, and they fixed one of the signs I pointed out. The PUD, they fixed a sign. So there's areas where they're coming to compliance with their own rules. That's really not even starting at it's really not doesn't really address that the system of rules that they have are oppressive and cause suffering.
So I discovered we were in Arizona for a while, and I was talking to somebody about rattlesnakes, and they were warning me that some of the rattlers were evolving or changing to so that their rattles didn't rattle, because the ones that were rattling were getting killed, and somehow they were adapting.
Yeah.
And so they were changing, so they didn't rattle anymore. And so part of what I'm seeing with some of the people in these positions, these oppressive positions, is they're kind of changing their tune a little bit, and maybe they're tolerating the camera and being nice when they're on film, or being nice to the blind guy. But the position is still a rattlesnake. I'm not saying the people are rattlesnakes, but it's still dangerous. It's still an oppressive position, even if they're doing it nicely.
It's still funded with theft. It's still backed with force.
Yeah.
It's still comply or die is the modus operandi. So
right.
That's a t-shirt right there. Comply or die is the modus operandi. Boom.
I don't know how to spell that.
We should just get them and just leave them at city halls,
I can make a sign. I gotta make a sign. Or a sticker.
Yeah.
Comply. Yeah. Let's see. I got behind. Okay, so Michael Owen, you may be gone, but if you're still here, I wrote down your question.
Okay.
He said, help other auditors. Where's the line not to cross when auditing?
I can't make that call. That's
Oh, thanks, Josh.
Well, I appeal to everyone to live peacefully. So I'm not going to tell people to do anything. I'm not going to give any order or command, but I will appeal to people to live peacefully with one another, to basically try to follow the non-aggression principle, to not cause any harm or damage to people or property, and except in self-defense or in defense of others. So that's basically it. There's whole diversity in how you approach people and encounters and things, and I'm not gonna try to armchair quarterback other people's techniques and things. I won't do it. It's nice.
That's Genie from Aladdin, in case you didn't know it. I don't like doing it.
I don't like doing it.
No?
No. It's not pretty.
Yes, it's not a pretty picture.
Robin Williams.
Oh.
We miss you.
Sad face. Mm-hmm. Get ID a lot. Let's see. Do you get ID a lot, Mike, like so many auditors do?
Do they ask for ID? I think that they've only asked for ID. Let's see. Once on the 4th of July last year when they tried to arrest me in the park.
On the 4th of July.
Yeah. Where else?
Oh.
With one other time.
Well, they ask you, like, who you are.
Yeah, but that's different than just asking for ID.
I don't know. It doesn't happen very
I've been
often.
getting different messages and emails from people. One came in a few days ago from a lady in a different county here in Washington. She says she works for the post office, and she got a bulletin. I didn't tell you about this.
I saw it.
Oh, you said? Okay.
Yeah.
She got a bulletin with information about me and our videos, and just to watch out that I may be coming.
Well, she didn't actually indicate what the bulletin said.
Oh, yeah?
Did she? It was just kind of a...
Well,
I
it was a
heard about
heads up.
this, like, right.
So I'm
okay.
assuming it's, hey, he may be coming your way. And
We should go visit.
She did ask, she reached out and asked basically what what we're about, like why we do the videos. So
Sorry. The Dead Sea Tupperware cannot break. It broke. It's Josh.
nice.
It's busting out the Aladdin.
They're making
Thank you.
live action. I don't know
Man,
when
he
this
got
will
like
come out.
2 gold stars. He told me how to spell modus operandi. Now he's
Boom.
got the Aladdin.
Did you write it down?
Yes. I'm sitting in front of a computer. We've got multiple phones
Right.
nearby, and I have a pen and paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
Let's see.
Well, do you want to open up the phone? We're doing a different number,
Oh,
right?
we're trying something new.
All right. Do you want to do that? Do we have any mods in here today?
We do have some mods.
All right.
I think we did. I saw a question. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Hold on. Donkey asked a question. Colorado Donkey Watch. Can you explain your thoughts on the Constitution from its origins, what we see today? Was it intended to be this way? Thought you might like that question.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the U.S. Constitution was debated back and forth by the people drafting it, and it was really interesting because they tried to crown George Washington king, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna do this crap. Like, they offered him to like a rulership of the land a few times. He turned him down. He finally reluctantly accepted to serve as a president, and that kind of is the same way with the Constitution, because they were like, well, we kind of banded together. 3% of the populace took up arms to overthrow, the greatest military and navy in the world at the time. And then well, we did this great feat together. We banded together. What else can we do if we, band together? I think they were trying to figure out ways of moving forward in a collective sense rather than in a I guess a more decentralized way that they have been doing it, even though they had established states. They had the 13 colonies, and so those whatever they called them. I don't know if they can't remember if they called them states or colonies at the time, but they had their own basically English common law that they used and systems of governance that they used, but still it was pretty decentralized. Now you still had slavery, like outright slavery, and that's even mirrored in the U.S. Constitution, where it said that I forget the language. It may have just said Negroes or something, but we're 3/5 of a human, and just this weird backwards thinking, but it was the thinking of the time that they had, not to justify it at all, but that's where they were. They were fighting for freedom, for liberation, while still having slaves. So it was just this weird thing. So there's a whole handful of things in the U.S. Constitution that are just messed up, even today, even as it's just today, currently amended. But they were reluctant to even draft it. They were reluctant to form a central government. They didn't want to consolidate the power. They didn't want to do that. They were going back and forth. They eventually said, well, if we don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. Somebody else. That's basically what they ended up with. So then they said, well, we need to draft a strong document to try to keep whatever government is formed in check. So let's do this, and let's try to form this government with checks and balances and three branches, and have different, safeguards in place. But even after all of that, even after drafting all the stuff, one of the main authors of the Constitution, James Madison, famously called it a paper or parchment barrier, which is to say that it's just a piece of paper that's not going to block anything. You can just walk through a piece of paper. That's not actually going to prevent people in government positions, no matter what it morphs into, from morphing into whatever it wants. But ultimately, the nature of government, at its foundation, every government ever formed, is control. The word government is a system of control, right? So that's the nature of the beast. And they knew that. They recognized if we do a big centralized one, it's going to grow out of proportion. That's why you have quotes like from Jefferson saying that the tree of liberty needs to be refreshed from time to time with blood of patriots and tyrants. You know, like there was other ones where they're saying that they needed to have a revolution every 20 years, something like that. So it's these other writings from these guys that were involved with the Constitution, recognizing that this system is a consolidation of power, and whole adage, power corrupts ultimately, or whatever. That I just butchered that, but that's the idea. So the 13th Amendment today, that was supposed to have abolished slavery, says it's okay if it's used in punitive sense. So that's why the U.S. has the highest population of incarcerated people on the planet, because it's free slave labor. They can, by the U.S. Constitution, following the quote-unquote law of the land, they have slaves still. Because they think they can. They think the piece of paper gives them permission. And it's crazy. It's just a piece of paper, just words on it. It doesn't apply to anybody. Hopefully that answered your question, Donkey. If you want me to follow up, shoot us something.
But don't shoot us.
All right. Any other things before we flip the phones on?
Oh, man. Apparently some of them were going back and forth.
Yeah.
All kinds of blah, 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 blah. All right. No Faith mentioned the percentage of a human came later in the Constitution. Is that?
Oh, the 3/5 clause?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's in the amendments. It was repealed. That's what I think. That was, you might be remembering. It was actually part of like the original articles and things prior to the amendments.
Okay.
But they repealed it.
Cool. All right. Power
then-
corrupts absolute. Power corrupts absolutely.
There we go. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
I said ultimate.
Ultimate. No, stop. I'm stuck in Aladdin.
Unlimited cosmic power.
Itty bitty little face. We didn't watch it today, I promise. You guys are in Puget Sound, aren't you? Don't you keep up with the earthquake warnings are giving for that area now? The watchman, he's making a face.
No,
Hands on-
we're southwest of the Sound.
Mhm.
We're on the Olympic Peninsula. We're like, I don't know, something like 60 miles or so as the crow flies south of Mount Olympus.
I want to go there when it's warmer.
Yeah.
Right now it's way too cold.
But we were out doing our composting stuff today. Making some mulch, doing some other stuff. Working on
Yep.
our food independence
Yep,
as the weather's warming.
it's pretty cool. All right. Guys, want me to give you the phone number? Thoughts
Yes.
on the... I'll put it in. Debbie wants to know thoughts on the census while I'm getting this in here.
I don't know. Is that they're trying to do another U.S. census? Is that what
I
your
don't know.
question is?
Literally, that's what it says. So thoughts on the census. I'll keep an eye out for an update.
It's interesting. We actually had a chat with our eldest son about that the other day. Not an upcoming one, but
Just the idea.
he was doing research on. He was doing a geography lesson, and I think he was looking at New York City, and the latest population numbers he got was from 2017, and he's like, I took forever trying to find more updated population like from 2019. I'm like, dude, they don't do that like every year. They do periodic census, you know. And he didn't know what that was, so we explained And he's like, well, that doesn't sound cool. It's like, yeah, exactly. So I don't support any kind of force of any kind. And for people to go to your door and say, hey, you have to fill out this piece of paper or else, you know, I don't know what, I know there's been threats in the past about if you don't fill out the census paperwork or demographic information. So I was we can talk about the hospital if we want. Because I was at the hospital.
Oh, this is something I did want to talk about.
Yeah. I went to hospital, I think in Olympia.
Lacey, Olympia.
This past week.
Yeah.
For an x-ray. So the VA sends veterans out to private sector for different things. So I was going to get an x-ray of my neck, and they sent me to this hospital. So I went there. They checked me in to do the stuff. They verified my information and everything, and then said, okay, yeah, this is the VA code, so it's it's covered. And then they said, we just have this consent form for you to initial and sign. I'm like, okay, well, let's go over it. And she's like, okay, do you want me to just read the bullet points, or just the points that you have to initial, or the whole thing? I'm like, the whole thing. And she's like, well, it's 6 pages. I'm like, okay, let's get going. And so she starts reading it, and I stop her at a point. I'm like, hey, we need to correct this language here. We need to line through that and make it to this. She's like, oh, I can't change the document. I'm like, well, no, it's my signature. If I'm going to agree to something, it's going to be in the verbiage that I agreed to. She's like, well, you can't do that. And so she sent me across the street to the main hospital building, because it was like an annex building. And so I went out, handed Christina the contract, the 6-page contract. She read through it with me word for word, and we adjusted it to make sure it's as honest as we can be, to the best of our knowledge. And so then I took it in, and so I was there for 2 hours, maybe a little more than 2 hours. Talked to a handful of different employees, and they kept saying, well, it's a legal document, you can't change it. I'm like, yes, legal documents are changed all the time. Here's the actual proper way of doing it. You line through it. If you want to add a word, there's ways of adding. This is an agreement between the hospital and me, and I'm representing myself. The hospital has a staff of legal people that probably drafted this. Is anybody here qualified to negotiate this contract on behalf of the hospital? And they're like, well, I'm not. Let me find somebody who is. So they kept trying to find somebody. Ultimately, none of them were qualified to negotiate their side of the contract. They basically said, you have to take it as is or leave it. You have to consent to everything, or we can't service you. We can't, give you any care here. And so I was like, well, you're refusing care. I have my consent right here, and I signed it. So there's mainly two parts that were the big hang-ups. One was the medical consent, which basically said that I consent to any procedure that anybody in the hospital orders, prescribes, at any time while I'm there, right? So it doesn't even have to be hospital staff. They have different interns that come in. They have different people, students. They have different other doctors that moonlight, that specialists and stuff that come in and stuff that aren't necessarily hospital staff, but they have privileges there. And it says that in it, it says anybody in there that wants to say, hey, you know what? We're here for an x-ray of your neck, but
You know what? I don't like this hand. We're just going to amputate this today.
well, obviously an extreme, but right. Well, yeah, your foot looks funny. Let's x-ray that.
Right.
And maybe you're talking funny, and your line of questioning is off. Maybe we need to schedule something with the psych department. And you're resisting, you're not complying. Oh, you're combative. Okay, we're gonna put you in restraints, and we're gonna force all these different things on you. Oh, and by the way, you signed your consent form for us to do whatever the hell we want to you. And so we altered that to say that I retain consent throughout the whole thing. So I can choose to give consent to whatever I choose to give consent to.
This doesn't hurt the hospital.
Right.
It's fine.
And then the next one under that is the financial consent, like basically saying that I agree to pay for anything that
it's like a blank check.
The insurance doesn't want to cover, right? Even though they said the VA 100% covers the neck X-ray, right? Again, if they like, well, your foot looks funny, let's X-ray that, and this looks funny, let me order this, let me order that, let me order this. Like, when they send that bill to the VA, it's like, no, he was there for neck x-ray. We're not going to pay any of this stuff, right? So I'm not going to just give them a blank check. So I raised some of these issues among some other stuff that they said they gave me, information and documents they didn't give me. So I was like, well, I can't sign that because I said that I just lined it out and said you didn't give me rather than you did give me because you didn't. And it's like, oh, we can get those papers to you. I'm like, okay, is it in an accessible format? And they're like, and they found out they didn't have anything in an accessible format for me to read. So I'm like, okay, then it's fine. You didn't give it to me. I don't need the information. I'm just here for an x-ray. This should be in and out. I don't know why you guys are making this a big deal. And then, so eventually, a few hours later, after talking to several different staff members, they turned me away. So.
And they weren't supposed to ask you to sign anything.
Yeah, because the VA has already contracted with them. Like, they've got a separate contract going on. So.
But the thing about that, like, because we've gone to many, like, different doctors, checkups and whatever, like go and take the kids in, and every time they're going to give you the privacy policy, so just you sign that you got that, and if you don't get it, don't sign it because you're going to be you could be held accountable for having read that and know that because you're acknowledging that you got that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because we went to one doctor. And I was like, I was going to cross it out and say I have not received. And she's like, oh, you didn't receive that? I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, you want it? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm not just going to cover your ass. Like,
yeah.
You want it? Yes. Okay. I would like a copy of that before I sign it. Like, and she's like, I don't know if we have that. I'm like, what? How do you not have that? And she's like, well, I got to go look. Maybe it's in the manual. Like, she's like gone forever.
Yeah.
And so finally I just marked no and she was gone and I just turned in my paper and moved on.
It's the indoctrination, it's the training. You're just taught to fill in the boxes, not ask questions, fill in the blanks. Oh, you sign here, sign here, sign here. Not read what you're signing, what you're giving up, what you're agreeing to.
Yep.
And when you start actually reading things and thinking and asking questions, people get upset.
Yeah.
Even though that's like literally what they brought it up. Like I didn't care to sign anything. I didn't bring this up. You wanted me to do this. You want us to have a conversation.
Colorado Donkey Watch. I pledge allegiance. It starts young, kids.
Yeah, that's right.
You got it.
Yeah, every day, man. And then it goes into the testing. Filling in the blocks and filling in the worksheets and all this stuff like just taught in the indoctrination centers to fill in these things. Fill in these things. Yep. Learn compliance and obedience. That's the majority of the lesson at public schools is comply and obey. Memorize some facts, some quote unquote facts, distorted facts. Yeah.
Cool.
Phone.
All right, I got it.
Teasing them. You keep teasing them with the phone.
I'm just gonna hit enter. Here you go, guys. New phone number. Oh, we'll try it. It's gonna be awesome.
Ha.
All right, it's 360-209-4483. And, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, No Faith went and checked it. He said that you're right about the 3/5 compromise.
No, thanks for checking it, man.
Hey, and that's another thing. I saw somebody post on here earlier that Mike's always right. No. Check it out. Look it up.
Yeah, I've got brain damage.
Hey.
Hi, you're live on the air with Blind Justice.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Hey, you there?
Yep.
All right, you're live with Blind Justice.
Yep, I know.
Okay.
This is Ken.
Hey, Ken. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, Ken?
Hey, I just want to make you guys aware that a couple of your mods are acting just like tyrannical cops, even going as far as telling me in the chat to tread lightly.
Oh.
I have not threatened anyone. I did not do anything. Look, right there. Glandular mass. Ken's gonna bitch. You're damn right I'm gonna bitch.
All right.
Because you're
Hey.
acting like a tyrant.
Hey. Keep the chat
You
drama
guys
in the
did.
chat.
Or her.
No,
I'm
I
dead
did.
serious.
No, I hear
They
you.
make great cops. They make great cops the way that they're acting and censoring. Nobody threatened anybody. Nobody promoted violence.
Yeah.
All I said is that nobody would want Carter's crusty, crap-stained underwear because he kept asking to donate clothing. And, but by the way, he started it. And they're going to sit there. tyrannical cop. Oh,
Ken.
they act the same way.
Ken.
All right,
My friend.
We'll address it, man. Thanks.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Because what's he saying now? You're making false claims. I'm not making false claims. It's all grandeur romance. It's all.
All right.
I got you, bro.
Screen capture.
All right, thanks.
But yes. Just wanted to let you know that they're doing that.
Okay.
All right, thanks,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so mods, please just, let the chat be as free as you can. Really, the only things we're concerned with are any calls of actionable violence, right? And maybe, like, threats. So, we're not partial to insults and name-callings and things like that, but that's not an actual threat. So, I'm not saying block insults and things. So you can let them go, like... She doesn't read them. I don't, they don't.
I skip things.
Yeah. So.
Call from.
Hello, you're live on the air with Blind Justice.
Hey, it's our.
They're back.
Woohoo! Okay, I'll hang it up. That's pretty fun.
Hey, at least this phone system you got going is a little bit better. What do you guys? Is it audio coming in okay? Trying to find stuff that works. Our other phone stuff has been all weird.
Let me scroll down. Hold on. No, we cannot ban Ken, maybe. Come on, y'all. Get along. Let's see. Is this sound okay, guys? For the calls? Okay, yep. Ralph said, yep, audio's just fine, Jen.
Cool.
Thanks, Jen. Cool. Ow.
Yeah, you want to post the video again? Or the video,
The video. The little...
telephone.
I can.
Somebody's calling now.
Call from.
Ozark Hillbilly.
Hello,
Hold
you're...
on. Okay.
Hi, you're live on the air with Blind Justice.
How you doing, Blind Justice?
Hey.
Ozark Hillbilly.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I know we had
Great.
last time. We had connection problem. Hey, just thanks again for calling in and sending that that gift our way. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're more than welcome. But Sarah T just put it up again. I've been asking for PayPal again. I'm going to send you some more.
Oh wow.
I'm old and feeble and I can't get out. I bought cameras and, Colorado Donkey once. I finally found somebody to take them to send it to him, but also Sasha in Springs. She's getting a camera too. But
Nice.
the only way I can do this is to help you guys out. To fund you.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate
I
it.
got a question.
Yeah. What do you
I
got?
got a question for you. And I don't want to get too personal, but I've got a great friend of mine that lost his eyes in a car wreck. And he is so talented as a prep in a restaurant that, they normally weigh out their hamburger meat for hamburgers. And this guy can make a ball of a hamburger, and the whole sheet pan is perfect.
Yeah.
How did you lose your eyes? Or you're not completely blind. I don't think you are.
No, I'm not. Yeah.
Would you explain that to me? Because you are so talented at what you do with minimal eyesight. I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is I had really good vision most of my life, and it was over the last 6-7 years. I had a series of brain injuries, and the last big one rocked my head pretty good. Had a migraine for a day or two, and then when that settled, noticed a double vision effect, and then that progressively got worse. That was like the visual distortion that I first noticed, and then it split off from two images to three to now it's like multiple images. And everything's all amorphous, blurry, and overlapping. So it's a lot of visual noise. Can't really make much sense out of it, except that I had vision for most of my life. So I cue off of the sounds and smells and things like, hey, I know, what a car sounds like. I know that where the road is. I know that this large thing moving next to me, even if I don't hear it, right, which is not likely because I have really good hearing, but if this really big thing blob that's covering my field of vision is probably a car, so it's piecing together these different elements of what I do have, and a lot of it is using the frame of reference because I had vision for most of my life to try to fill in those gaps. I haven't quite gotten the skills back to where they were in a lot of things, like stuff in the kitchen and doing simple things like playing ball with my kids, and
You got a lovely wife. That's your wife.
Yeah, thank you. There's so much that I haven't been able to quite figure out how to, simple woodworking and tooling and handyman stuff. I did fumble around with assembling a wood chipper earlier today, so there was
The
that.
blind guy was using a wood chipper today.
I've got a cabinet shop in my backyard, and I can't get out and use it.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I appreciate it, man, and it's just learning to try to cope and adjust and use different tools and technology and people helping me, and just being patient. So.
Colorado Donkey Bar says, "Don't use the wood chipper." He already did.
Yeah. But no,
Well,
thanks. Yeah.
Check your PayPal.
All right.
Aw.
Hey,
Thanks, man.
and you stay in the fight, and you find something for you each day to keep you going, and
I just had surgery.
yeah.
We're thinking I got some dead bowel, but they closed up some diverticulitis
Yeah.
with surgery, and it's. I'll lean on
You can
Jack.
call
What
other
can
days,
I
too.
say?
Yeah. Yeah, just I don't know, man. I know that's I've had people close to me that have gone through similar procedures for the same issues, and it's not always pleasant, but it's not doesn't have to be the mountain. You can take it one step at a time and breathe and just
Well,
try to do what
I've
you
got
can.
other health issues too, but
Yeah.
worst part is I lost my wife of 34 years about 3 years ago, and that kind of killed me anyway. So
Yeah.
more power to you.
Well, we love you, man. And if you can find my my number on the channel for my phone, that if you want to just chat and talk about other things, I love having long conversations with people. So we can do it off air and
Sure.
just kind of,
Yeah,
help each other get through some days that are rough.
yeah. There's a lot of them anymore. But man, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Keep it up.
All right, yes, sir. All right. We have.
All right, it's open. There's a couple people that tried to call.
Okay. Phone line is open if you want to try to call back. What's that number again?
Oh, they're posting it.
Okay.
They picked it up. Well,
Cool.
they were. I don't have it memorized. There it is. Boom. Josh is on it. Josh, it's gonna be a mod.
You just make him a mod.
I just made a mod.
Hey, another
Alright.
phone call.
Call from.
Hey, you're live with Blind Justice.
Yo, it's Ken again, and I ain't gonna bitch about the monster time.
All right.
I wanted to ask DJ if, I use that instead of your real name because I know
Yeah,
I
it's-
want to identify.
Sure.
So remember we talked the other day on the phone about the workaround of the bag at the
Yeah,
courthouse
yeah.
thing with the 88. What is your thoughts on that?
There's definitely something that can be used. I didn't want to use that approach right off the bat. So to catch everybody up, Ken, I think he posted on some videos, and then he called me to talk about a backpack is legitimately, an assistive device to carry medication, to carry food, if you're diabetic, to carry batteries to recharge my devices that I use as adaptive technology. So there's all.
Not just that, the fact that you have to use a white cane to see,
Yeah.
that's effectively your eyes
Yeah.
at this point. To have you carry files
Yeah.
or loose papers or anything creates an unreasonable danger to yourself.
Yeah.
And thus, using the backpack is a reasonable expectation for an assistive device.
Yeah. No, that's great. Great point. And so my answer is that yes, those are all valid, and they are on the table to be used. But I don't know if you were here earlier when we gave an update that we went back the next day to the courthouse, and I went with Taz News Tacoma, and they had already implemented a change. So they scanned the backpack, they checked a battery pack or something they had a question about, and then I took the bag and put it on my back, and we walked through the whole courthouse. We even went into a courtroom, and we got the royal treatment in one of the offices in the clerk's office because she recognized me from when she was running, and I had talked with her when she was running for that position, and so she showed us everything. So yeah.
Now that makes me wonder if they're watching your videos and might have seen what I commented.
Yeah, maybe. So the reason I didn't want to use the ADA avenue direct, right off the bat, is because I want to try to free up that obstacle for everybody, regardless of regardless if they have a disability or not, and hopefully people will be respected and won't be subject to unreasonable seizures of their property, just because there's a willy-nilly sign with some words on it.
Right. And of course, that's completely reasonable. I understand that.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to see what your view was and have you talk about it.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, thanks, Ken. That's a legitimate point. Definitely something that we can use in the future if for instance, if they weren't willing to change their policy and comply, but they are, so that's
right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks very much for talking about that, man.
Yeah, man.
Yep, have a good night.
All right, you too.
Peace, man.
Dude, this phone system is working way better.
Google.
Is it? Of course. It's the
Of course. Google's
AI
amazing, taking over the world.
They are.
I'm okay with it. Maybe. I don't know.
We just have to be friendly. We have to join them before they destroy us.
Google?
The AI.
Oh.
But Google uses AI, so it's.
Google and I are friends.
That's what you think.
That's what Google wants me to think.
Yeah.
Call from.
Oh, good.
Yes. Hi, you're live with Blind Justice.
I got the biggest height and the smallest pee-pee, nigger.
All right, go ahead. Kill that.
If it's a bot when I answer, I'll probably just hang up.
No, some people
Oh.
could be funny. You can get a, what are those things? Soundboard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because it could just be being silly.
Yeah.
Well, they're all just being silly. Yes, sir. All right, 360-209-4483. Thank you, Glandular Mass.
What?
Posting the phone number so I don't have to look for it.
Oh, cool. Nice. All over it.
Let's see.
Oh, so I can talk to other things that I quite haven't mastered. Well, I haven't really mastered anything, but as far as regaining skills to do with the vision loss. So you may not have thought about this, but toothpaste. Try to put toothpaste on your toothbrush. Like, close your eyes and try to put toothpaste on your toothbrush. In a way where you don't put too much toothpaste on the toothbrush or too little toothpaste on the toothbrush.
Or all over your fingers.
Or you get it all over your fingers, or where because if you have more than one person in a household, right, and you share the toothpaste, you don't necessarily want to be putting the actual opening of the toothpaste container onto your toothbrush and like wiping it,
Unless you're the only person who uses it, yeah.
Right. So you're trying to do that without the actual contact of the container, of the toothpaste to the toothbrush. and it becomes really tricky, right? Try to do that with your eyes closed.
Probably boost. I'm making a huge mess of my bathroom. Can I stop now?
Right. So, but
Exactly.
there's a product. There are powders. There are
I'll get
tooth
it.
powders. We use one called Dirt.
And it makes such a mess anyway.
and it's just, you just wet your toothbrush and then you dip it into the powder and you brush your teeth. So, boom, life hack. Don't have to worry about messy paste. So,
When we spit, it looks like there's mud in the sink
yeah.
because it's actually brown and messy. And oh, this segment is not brought to you by Dirt.
Yeah, they
Have no idea we did this.
Random product placement.
That's weird. All right.
Call from.
It's
Batman.
You're
Batman,
live.
you're live with Blind Justice.
What's up, Batman?
What's up, dude?
You there? Oh,
Great. Hey, is Gotham, are you keeping the crime down in Gotham?
oh.
Oh, he switched to something else.
Hang it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could have had fun with Batman.
Just forever. I'm Batman. Oh.
I've thought about using that line when people ask me, like why I do something or whatever. Why are you doing this? Because I'm Batman.
Call from.
Ken.
Hi, you're live with Blind Justice.
Hey, it's Ken again. Hey, at least I'm trying to call to give you guys legitimate questions.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. So, I posted a video recently on my other channel, the Lancaster Watchman, and it took a while for the mods to figure out that, yeah, that was both me, but that's besides the point. I went to the courthouse, and I, did the, filmed the front of it and the back of it and all that. In the Lancaster County Courthouse, they have a sign, it used to be a bunch, but now it's just one, saying that all cell phones, cameras, recording devices are all banned.
Wow.
In the courthouse, even in the hallways, the lobbies, everywhere. You can't come in the door with them at all. What are your guys' views on that?
Well, so it's interesting. I think that clearly violates the First Amendment. Probably
Even the newspaper can't bring them in.
Yeah.
Like nobody, unless you work there or are a cop or
Yeah.
you're a government employee. It's all us little peons are not allowed to have.
Yeah, and it probably violates the 4th and the 14th as well.
I'll be right back.
Okay. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, some people have been wanting me to push, the courthouses and courtrooms with the ADA angle, because it doesn't, it's approaching it from a different side, not from a constitutional challenge, but from, hey, I use these every day, everywhere I go, to give me feedback. They're for my notes. They're for communication. They're for all this stuff.
So for the cameras for you or for your safety, because if someone
Yeah.
were to attack you or something,
Yeah.
you can't give a description.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, no. So there's all these other areas of it that we can approach it from, but it's really what it boils down to is control. Like I mentioned earlier, that government is a system of control, and so that's the nature of the beast. That's what it's always going to do. The people in those positions are always going to do that, whether they realize it or not. They're going to continue to perpetuate systems of control, and trying to keep information from being disseminated, especially when they're doing when one of the easiest rackets to understand is the court system racket. When there's no actual victim, there's no there's no victim, and yet they drag you in by force, right? Because you're not there on your own volition. You're there at threat of violence. Because if you don't go, they're going to have a warrant for you, and they'll actually drag you there against your will. So you show up to mitigate the violence, right? And to mitigate the amount of money they're going to steal from you. and you show up, and you say, hey, I want to face my accuser, right? Supposedly you have the right to, I think it's the 6th or 7th Amendment, you have the right to do that, supposedly, right?
Sixth Amendment, you have the right to face your accusers
Yeah.
and bring witnesses and evidence on your behalf.
Yeah, supposedly, right? If this piece of paper applies, which it doesn't, it's a piece of paper, and they recognize that, and they exploit that, and so it really is a power struggle. It's like, well, they have a monopoly on violence, and they know that, and they're gonna bank on that every time, even though the percentage of people that actively work in systems of government is so small, and of those people, the ones that are actually armed, the enforcement arm of it, is incredibly small. So if the people we all decide, you know what, we're not going to do taxes, we're not going to pay your fines, we're not going to pay your fees. If everybody just collectively, it starts with an individual thing. We decide, we're not going to do it. Then they may try to bring order and try to crack down on some people, but if everybody stays true to it, they're powerless. And there's an interesting video, I think, by Larkin Rose called, I think, the little dot or the tiny dot, that demonstrates that, like, visually, for you visual people. But yeah, it's a system of control, man, and it's trying to put barriers so people don't see the racket. The racket of the court system isn't exposed is an old game. They've been doing this for a long time. And
well, see, here's my problem with this thing here in Lancaster in the courts is about 2 years ago, I'm a busker.
Yeah.
Busking is different than panhandling.
Yeah.
Busking is street performing. It's not begging. So I play music and I sing. And
Troubadour.
I have a couple videos of it. Yep. And I was actually robbed one time doing this. I was holding my guitar, which is a Fender Zebrano, and I customized it, so it's worth a lot of money now.
Yeah.
And some guy came out of the pizza joint across the street, and I had a little sign, and the sign says, and I have pictures of all this, it's all documented, the sign said, "Help keep local arts alive, busking is not a crime."
Yeah.
Because a couple weeks before this, we had been harassed by a few cops who've now been forced into retirement for other reasons. But this guy comes across the street, and he's like, I don't like you guys out here. Oh, wait, your sign, you could smell the alcohol off of this dude. I was like, well, what's wrong with my sign, man? He's like, you're out here begging for money. And I'm like, I'm not begging for anything, bro. You don't have to give me anything.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the music. Or just keep on walking. The dude proceeded to kick. Now, I'm already disabled. I was hit with a tanker truck in 2005. I have severe spinal cord injuries and stuff. But he proceeded to kick me in the shins with steel-toed boots, so I couldn't chase after him. Grabbed the money out of my guitar case and went down the street to the little park where all the homeless people hang out. I called the cops. A cop who was fired in 2006 but somehow is still on the police force is the one who showed up. His name is Todd Dickinson. And I explained everything that happened to him. There's a camera right behind me on the Fulton Bank building that captured the whole thing.
Yeah.
He refused to do anything about it. So I said, these were my exact words, are you going to do your job or do I have to call your supervisor, bitch? And he wigged out. What? I'm like, well, did you not hear me? I said, you going to do your job or do I have to call your supervisor, bitch? He wrote me a ticket for, 1, calling the police, even though I was a victim of a crime, 2, calling him a bitch, and he took me to court over. He actually, I had to go to court.
What was the charge?
I went to the district or the magistrate office or whatever. It was 150 North Queen Street. The judge's name is Roth, R-O-T-H. I went there. I had my interactions with this cop on camera on my phone.
Yeah.
So I sat down on the defendant's side. I had my phone there and everything. And the judge comes in and freaks out that I had the phone. So you're not allowed to have those in the court, blah, 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 blah. I said, Your Honor, it has evidence on it. Give it to the cop. I said, no, I'm not going to give my property. You don't have any reason to take it. No. You're going to give it to him. I'll have the sheriffs come in here and take it from you. I was like, so you're saying you're going to unlawfully seize my property without probable cause? I said, there's evidence on here that pertains to this case that I would like to show. You can't do that. He had 6 sheriffs come in, take the phone from me. I didn't have it in my hand. I had it on the table.
Yeah.
Take it off the table. And then escort me out of the court, finding me guilty, telling me that I had to go to jail for 90 days.
Wow.
I immediately came home, filled out the paperwork to appeal, went to the court. That judge even though Roth, there was 3 charges, Roth dropped 2 of them and only had 1 for vulgar language, which the word bitch isn't vulgar. It's not one of the 7 words you can't say on TV. And, well, I mean, like, that's the whole point, right? Those are the vulgar words.
Yeah.
And that was actually my argument, too. So I actually stood in court and got to say the 7 dirty words.
Yeah.
But that judge was like...
Carlin,
okay,
right?
Well, yep.
Yeah.
And that judge was like, no, you can't say that. Or not, you can't say that. It's like, you can't argue that. I'll drop that one. But these other 2, I'm adding them back on. I said, hold on a second. I'm like, you can't add on charges. That's double jeopardy. Well, you can either ask for a continuance and go get yourself a lawyer, or you can argue them now. I was like, give me the continuance. So I went and got a lawyer, and we went back to the courthouse, and I had moved the video of the incident from my phone to the computer, my laptop. So on the day of the second, the continuance trial, I went in with my laptop. The sheriffs stopped me because they had that no recording, no cameras, none of that crap. I was like, excuse me. I was like, there's evidence on here. I said, according to the 6th Amendment, I can produce witnesses and evidence to my case. There's no better evidence than a camera, the unblinking eye of a witness. And they're like, no, you can't do it. Here, I got my lawyer to come down. I was like, can you take possession of my laptop for me? Because he was allowed to bring it in. I technically wasn't. So he takes it and we get it in. After all that, I decided to look up their policy, and here, point number 5 on their policy, it straight up says, unless it's used for evidence, you're not allowed to have it. So, but it was used for evidence. I don't get it, man. So I'm actually planning, I actually have a press pass, and I'm planning to go in during the summertime with cameras and see what happens. And I'm going to get myself a pair of the hidden camera glasses and all that stuff, so they,
Yeah.
But, that's my reason for behind it. It's just like, this is completely insane. What happened to the days back in the 50s and stuff? You see reporters in the hallway trying to get the quote and the picture, and
Dude, they don't...
wouldn't have the picture of Jack Ruby getting killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
yeah, no.
I just wanted your opinion on that.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah, no worries, man. Keep up the good work.
All right.
Yep. Take it easy.
Bye. Yeah, it's interesting, like, it just reiterates what everybody knows, that they don't know their own policies and procedures. They don't know their own codes, their own statutes, their own laws. They don't know their own stuff. So of course they're not following it. They think they're immune. They think it doesn't apply. They think, if they're violating it, then who's going to call them on that? Who's going to police the police? They cover themselves. It's a thick blue line, right? And we try to do it. They say, no, it doesn't apply to us. It applies to you peons, right?
Humphrey Strickland.
Hi, you're live with Blind Justice.
Hey, how you doing? This is Humphrey.
Hi.
Hey, I was just wondering if it would be okay if I shouted out my propane store.
Say what now?
I was just wondering if it'd be okay if I just shouted out my propane store, Strickland Propane, down here in Arlington, Texas.
Sure.
Is this character from King of the Hill?
King of the Hill. I think.
Well, thank you for letting me shout out my propane store.
All right.
You guys have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
That was from a church building's phone number.
Was it?
It had the name on the thing.
That's funny. Maybe we can call them back later.
Like, hey, what up? That's funny.
People prank calling.
Yep.
Was it Texas?
Yep. Oh, was the phone number from
Yeah.
Texas? It's I don't know. It's from a Korean Methodist church. I won't say the whole name of it. That way.
Of course, it could be routed through there, so it could just be pinging us out.
True.
Well, any other questions or comments?
Oh, they have all
Ralph-
kinds of
Ralph
fun things.
Posted a super chat. He said he's
Yes.
too shy to talk or
That
call
was
in.
a bit ago.
Thanks,
Ralph. We're in a call, so I didn't mention it. I'm sorry.
Boom.
Good call. Maybe Bobby will call next, said Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, that was one thing he mentioned. He just got his driver. I think it was Bill. I think you mentioned it. Yeah, he got his driver's license renewed, but it was under duress. He had to.
Right.
It's not like it's voluntary.
Right.
It's under duress. So you have to, they may say, well, you signed this paper, so now you have to follow this, and this. It's like, I didn't volunteer to do that.
Right.
That was all.
Yeah, exactly.
Or else.
Yeah, this is. I'm doing this to mitigate the violence you want to bring upon me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you put in the driver's license? Lady's like, what do you mean? I'm not gonna do anything to you. No, but the guys with guns that are,
Oh, good. Ralph's still here.
committing piracy on the side of the road, they want to do stuff too. Is Ralph a mod?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Ralph is a mod.
Yeah, they want to pull you over and extort money from you.
Yep.
At high speeds and cause dangerous situations for everybody. Like,
Yeah. But some people are like, well, if somebody's driving 125 miles an hour down the road, somebody's got to stop them. Like,
why?
you go from one car going 125 to another car that's got to go like 160,
They gotta go
180 to
stupid
catch
fast.
up.
It's not 180.
I make things up as I go. I don't know that one.
What are they, a helicopter?
Can you even go 180?
In a car? Yeah, if it's a
In my
freaking
car?
race car. No.
No. Okay, so like I should have dropped the numbers back a little bit.
Yeah.
But the point was you go from one car going fast to another car going faster to
How
catch
does it make
up.
it safe? Yeah.
It doesn't make it any safer.
You just increase the danger by a
You
factor
guys are
of
with
who
me.
knows what.
You understood. They're not talking to me. They're talking to each other.
Okay.
That's
We
okay.
can entertain them with a fun math fact. Math fact. You don't have any fun sounds to go with that? Come on.
I need a soundboard on
I know.
here.
She
I know
needs- she needs
a
a
few different
soundboard.
people have them.
All right, you
I
ready?
could probably Google it real
Ready to
quick.
blow your mind with some math?
All right, you do that. I'm gonna find a soundboard.
Okay, I'll do my own
'Cause I'm
sounds.
not
I don't need
good
a soundboard. I got this. Whoa, math fact. Okay, so
Oh wait, they are typing. Okay. There you go.
let's do 2-digit numbers. Okay, so somebody give me a 2-digit number.
I'm watching. Two-digit number, people. Or you can make them think of it themselves. Oh,
Ah,
they're
somebody's
calling.
calling.
Okay, hold that
All right.
thought.
Math fact.
I mean, I'm glad someone's calling.
Call from.
Ken,
Ken,
Ken.
you're live with Blind Justice again. What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, in Virginia, they actually do use helicopters to enforce the speed law.
Oh yeah, I know some of them. It's just crazy, man.
Yeah, I've seen those signs
So
up for that.
I just wanted to say that's not a far-fetched idea. They have
Yeah.
signs all over the highways. I never saw one, but my girlfriend at the time actually has, and it's an Apache chopper that they use for it.
Yeah,
So it's crazy, man.
yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to say that's actually a thing.
Oh yeah, the threat is real, and the arsenal is just as real. Yep.
Yeah.
Man, like, it's police using military-grade equipment. But for the two numbers, I picked 42.
Okay, all right. Since you're live, let's do this. So
Oh,
you have
okay.
42.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, they gave
Now-
so many numbers. Josh
now-
fixed.
You guys can do those 3 numbers too. Okay. Now add those 2 numbers together, the 4 and the 2. What do you get?
So everybody, you had a
6.
different number.
Okay. So yeah,
You can
add
do
your
the
2
same thing.
add your 2 numbers together. So for Ken, he had 42. He gets 6. Now subtract the 6 from the 42, and what do you get?
I'm not good at that. 41, 40, 39, 38, 37, 36.
Okay, you got 30. You got 36. All right. Now add the 2 numbers together at the end. So you have the 3 and the 6. Add them together.
9.
9. Now everybody should have 9.
You weren't supposed to do it like that, though. You should have done it like it was a magic trick. And be like, everybody think of a number.
All right. So
Sarah said,
Ken
it
says
hurts.
5 and Bill says 2-1.
All right, so-
Says 2-8,
No, but
so that's
everybody,
all I have 9.
everybody has
so
9.
everybody at the end has 9.
Put
So
a 9 in the chat if you got a 9.
boom.
Or you may not have done
There
it.
you go. So if we'll do 6 5,
just
right?
put a 9
So
in the
6
chat
plus
anyway.
5 is 11. 65 minus 11. 54.
54.
5 plus 4, 9.
9. Boom.
Math magic.
Oh, man. What was the one that I know? There's something for the 11 times table. If you times anything by 11, you just add the 2 numbers together.
Yeah.
So say it's like 12 times 11, you add 1 plus 2, and that's 3. So it's 131
Yep.
is the answer.
Yeah.
Or something,
What?
132, something like that. But yeah, anyway, have fun, guys.
All right. Thanks,
Bye.
Ken.
Yep, later.
I do enjoy that sound. I didn't find the sound thing.
Soundboard.
Yeah.
Are they responding to the math stuff?
No.
They're like
Let's
lame.
see. Any number times 3 or 6 or 9. Add last 2 digits. Colorado Donkey Watch.
Yeah. It works for 3-digit numbers
Segue to the picture. Got
as
9.
well. Do you want to do a 3-digit? Give me a 3-digit.
2, 3, 4.
2, 3, 4. Okay. 2 plus 3 is 5. Plus 4 is 9.
Okay. Done.
Right? Done. No.
No, I'm kidding.
So 234 minus 9 is 225.
Yep.
Right? 2 plus 2 is 4. Plus 5 is 9.
I
Boom.
wear my sunglasses at night.
Yeah, I do.
Somebody just typed that. I don't know if you were singing, but
Boom.
I was. So.
Is this the game we're going to play? Put random lyrics in and Christina will sing.
No, I am not very good at knowing songs. Okay, people would like an update on the PUD.
PUD?
Of them locking you in the cage.
All right. Well, we've been getting records requests back. She just updated me on stuff before we went live. I think from the
yes,
records lady.
And I'm drinking coffee.
Okay.
But
Because we asked for any evidence that they have where they claim that people from the internet threatened PUD workers. Because that's the reason they're redacting Mark and the other people involved's names, because they say they've received threats from people online. And so some of those have come back, and basically what's up with those?
So there was one. So there was. Hold on. There's a whole bunch of PDF files that they attached, and supposedly the audio of the voicemails was supposed to be attached to the PDFs, which I didn't know you could attach audio to PDF, and it didn't work. So if you can, either I have not figured out how to access them, or it didn't work. So I have to email her and tell her. One of them was typed up, and it wasn't a threat. So if it was something like, I hope blah, blah, blah happens. So it was a very negative, life-crushing thing that they hoped happened. But
yeah, probably, was it harm? That hope that harm comes to them?
Some kind of harm. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah. I'd have to pull it up. But that some
that's
kind
not
of
a threat.
harm would... No, someone can say, I hope that some harm comes to you.
It's wishing ill will against somebody, but it's not a threat.
Right. That's different.
Yeah. So there's that. We did talk to the lady claiming to be the chief of police from Elma, where one of her staff wrote up the police report, recommending charges being brought against me for trespassing, I think in the 2nd degree or something crazy.
Right.
But no charges recommended against the people who actually locked me in, for the unlawful imprisonment.
Yeah.
And so we asked her, we have audio of that conversation with her. We may post that, but she's like, well, I don't know. You have to talk to Chad, the guy that wrote the report. And I'm like, is this typical that you guys charge the victim with some random crime rather than pursuing, charges against the perpetrator of the crime? And she was kind of avoiding the questions a lot.
Yeah.
During that chat. So we do intend to follow up with them, maybe talk to Chad, the guy that wrote the report, and figure out his reasoning behind that, why he recommended charges being brought against the victim. So interesting.
And not recommended that charges be brought against the aggressor.
Right.
Like if he had recommended both, still messed up, but at least
yeah,
maybe trying to be fair or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's all documented on video, so I don't even know how there's a question here.
yeah.
I don't get it.
Silly.
Vilifying the victim tactic. Jen. Yep.
Yeah. So that's the latest there. We're still waiting on, records and stuff coming back and following up.
Josh just told me how you attach a sound file to a PDF.
Boom.
Man, he's on it.
Josh is killing it.
Man. But can you tell me how to open a sound that is on a PDF?
Click on it.
I tried clicking things, so everything that was clickable, did not take me to sound. It took me to an email.
You say open.
And a phone number, phone number. I have all the phone numbers. I could just call the phone number and be like, hey, did you threaten the people?
Yeah.
What up, my friend?
Did you record the conversation?
Did you have coffee with the chief from the council meeting? If so, anything good spoken about? That was a good question.
No.
You've been paying attention.
So far, nobody is
Baba Booey.
Reached out to have a conversation off camera or sans recording.
Yeah.
So we keep offering that to people, people up in Olympia and the quote unquote Capitol building, you know, the state trooper quote unquote people and other people there. You know, we extend the offer to everybody. Hey, you want to sit down and chat about stuff? That goes to you guys too. If you're if you're local enough
or
to
semi-local.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even a state over.
Yeah.
We're portable.
Go hang out, discuss things.
That's our favorite.
Do some man on the street interviews, some street epistemology. Not necessarily for just chilling and having coffee and talking, but yeah.
You could do some of that stuff.
What?
Street epistemology. The hard thing about that is finding people who are willing to stop and talk.
Everybody's so
busy.
Yeah. Busy.
They stop with like Crowder and like all those like things because it's a big setup and there's big cameras and microphones and fancy. We're not fancy.
I don't know. We got some fancy stuff here.
Well,
man.
we do.
This fancy
But that's
microphone.
because people love us and gave us our fancy thing. Fancy. I thought about singing "I'm so fancy," but I didn't want to.
Yeah. All right. We want to wrap this thing up.
What? We're just getting started.
Oh, really?
Let's get started.
How long have we been going? It's at least
An hour and 36 minutes. But people come in, so some people have only been in here for like 5 minutes.
Sure.
And
We're
then,
kind of rambling about different things.
I know.
All right, last
It's
chance. Last call for calls.
Yeah. But then I did sing it. I know. I did.
Should I tell them about the product we got off YouTube?
No.
Is that TMI?
That's way too much information. Well, now you have to because now they've all started thinking about like other things. Now you have to tell them what we got.
So there's a YouTube commercial that I forget what video I was listening to, but the ad was for the manscaping company, and it's a lawnmower, like it's like some clippers. So the thing that really intrigued me was they were claiming that it's got these safeguards that you won't, cut yourself while trimming your stuff or trimming your junk, right? I'm like, that's handy because I can't see to do that very well,
right?
So
this is legitimate, like,
yeah.
I mean, you could
So
cut
we
your
ordered
beard
it.
sometime.
Yeah, so we ordered it, and then within 60 seconds of trying it, I cut myself 3 different places in my under area.
Carriage.
One of them was the actual grundle, but yeah. So
Sad.
we
It
may
was
have
terrible.
to send these things back. I don't know if they are defective or
Sound
what.
Minds has seen the commercial. Boomer trimming your junk. Right? Maybe we should have ended it.
Told you, man. We're just gonna spiral out of control.
Somebody said the coffee's kicking in, but it's decaf. There's a lot of sugar in it.
No, this is
Whoopsie-daisy, yes.
You don't think about this. How do you do manscaping if you can't see tactilely?
But
You
seriously.
do it tactilely.
Yeah.
But with the clippers, they go. That's not so tactile. You need sight for that crap. But when they said, "Hey, we've got these safeguards so you can't cut yourself," I was like,
We
well,
got a bleeder.
sure. Maybe we'll try. Yeah, no, I was bleeding.
It was for real.
Chopping my junk.
He's
up,
like, "Hey,
man.
babe." I'm like, "Ah!"
Yeah. Good times.
He's just like, "Whatever."
Welcome to my world. Yeah. So just go back to handheld razor. It's tactile. Very careful. Where's it? Blazing
What?
Saddles. This is my shooting hand.
Oh gosh.
Sorry. Just we're talking about pop culture stuff.
Happy Quails. I have found that assistance devices can be extremely overpriced for their construction and functionality. Yes.
Yeah.
That can be very true.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because they like to.
Okay, Mrs. Justice to help. Yes.
Yeah, they like to. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if she has the nerve for that.
To cut no. To shave the no.
Yeah.
No, he can run a wood chipper. He'll be fine.
Not on my junk. What are you
I
talking
meant
about?
like
Context, woman.
It came up earlier. I was connecting
Whoa.
the dots.
We're talking
that
about
you were-
my stuff, which can be referred to as wood, and you said you can run a wood chipper. What are you saying here? They're all worried now.
Oh, okay. Stop. Backpedal. Oh, we got a wood chipper for small limbs, so like it has to be 1.5 inches in diameter or smaller.
Again, context.
I'm building context
I think you need to
for
distinguish.
actual tree branches.
Thank you.
And wood chipper of the junk. No. I'm trying to sew this back together. We mentioned it earlier that he set it up out in the yard today.
You said so. It's back together.
Oh, God. This is the worst live ever. James Freeman, what's up? He just yelled blind justice.
Hey, what's up, man?
Glandular mass is laughing hysterically. Oh, he just got here. You got here at such a lovely
You
part.
came in and we were talking about me chewing up my junk. with the product that YouTube is as an ad for the lawn. What is it? Lawnmower from
It's called
Manscaped.
Lawnmower 2.0.
Anyway,
we will be emailing them.
Yeah.
It may be epic. Maybe we got a dud.
Maybe it's a dud. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe they're relying on their users to be cited before taking clippers to their balls. You know.
Yes, and I was. Never mind.
But
Oh,
we
I'm
actually
over
have
it.
a wood chipper
Yeah.
because we have we compost and we have a garden and
Yeah.
we're trying to grow our own food and stuff. Anywho.
James said I heard you talking about that and subbed right away. Right? Oh man. Oh.
Yeah. No, it's life.
But yes, the wood chipper. He assembled that and was using that today.
It wasn't much like the actual chipper itself was kind of a unit. And speaking of units, and I just had to attach the stand and the wheels. So
Oh yeah.
it still took me 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo. Doesn't.
Done. Found it.
Yeah. Yeah, not so easy when you can't see, but hey, at least it stands up.
It does.
And it ran for like an hour while we made mulch
Yep.
out of all our clippings. So, hooray! And it was actually pretty cheap. Like, wasn't it? Like the chipper, it was like $100 or something.
I don't remember. We bought it a while ago.
It's electric, handle
Yeah.
small limbs, great
It did
for
good.
your when you're making mulch and things for planting stuff.
Yeah. Back to Eden gardening.
Yeah, back to Eden beds, throwing down mulch bed. Yep, to kind of let the nutrients seep into the ground and cover the ground so you get it ready for planting, and then you rake it off and then plant.
That's cool.
Yep, we talked about that in the permaculture.
Last Sunday?
Yeah, last Sunday with Bill from Honest Open Permaculture. So if you haven't seen his stuff, he does great stuff.
Yeah, guys.
Check him out, Honest Open Permaculture, and you can watch our interview with him or watch one of the videos we have up for his channel. So
Just go to his channel and watch it.
yeah,
Give him the watch.
yep.
It's pretty cool.
We're going to try to highlight different videos and channels like that highlight different ways to live free, different independence. We kind of talked about some things today, like health independence, not really addressing the independent side, really addressing the opposite of, when you go to get care and they say, here's a 6-page contract to get an x-ray. Like, what the hell, right? So there's ways of taking care of yourself, taking responsibility for your health, so you're not relying upon a system to do that where you're irradiated. Right? Yeah. So we use supplements and vitamins and oils and meditation and all kinds of other non-standard Western medicine stuff, even though a lot of them are recognized and published in medical journals and peer-reviewed and everything. It's it's sad.
Self-sufficiency. That's how we attain true freedom, James.
Yes, absolutely. So those are the things that we're going to try to promote, find different channels that we can say, hey, here's different levels of independence, whether it be energy independence, water independence, food, health, financial independence, and try to promote those.
We have a call.
All right.
Hang on, y'all.
Call from.
Ken again.
Ken again.
Ken, what's up?
Hold on. What's up, Ken?
Hey, you guys are talking about the independence thing and all that, the health independence, the health
Yeah.
independence. Have you seen the news articles where several counties around the country are actually making off-grid living illegal?
What?
Yeah.
No.
You can't.
There's one that caught my eye because it's from Cape Coral, Florida. That's where my mom lives. That's why it caught my eye.
Yeah.
And some woman, they had drug her into court about it. My friend on Facebook, he posted an article about it. I think it was around Las Vegas that they said that you have to be attached to the sewer or the water or the electric.
Jeez.
You can't counties are going around now and making off-grid living illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just wanted to know if you guys knew about that. If not, check it out, like look it up and, verify
Okay.
everything, and then maybe you guys can give an opinion on it next time.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no worries, man. Have a good night.
You too. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I know they've like different aspects of it, like catching your own water is legal in some places. Like it's falling from the sky.
Yeah.
I can catch it if I want to.
Yeah.
That's
It's
ridiculous.
the nature of the beast of government. They want to control every aspect of your life. And anything that you try to do to be independent and free, they're still going to try to come in and say, well, I don't know about that solar system you rigged up. It could be dangerous. It could burn down and kill your family, even though you're miles away from anyone else. We need to take your money.
Ready?
Yeah.
Call from Becky.
Hi, you're live on the air with Blind Justice.
Hey, Becky.
Hi.
I was just calling so that it wouldn't be Ken again. Good night.
Ah, great. Thanks.
Y'all funny. Oh, that's funny.
That's funny.
We got a different voice.
Yeah. It is shocking when you start to take personal responsibility and promote that for others, and learning to be independent of these systems of control, learning to opt out of the system that's predicated upon violence and coercion. They still want to try to come in and force you to do it their way. You got something?
I don't know. What do you
Comments,
mean, like reading
questions?
stuff? Today I used an auger to unclog my home sewer system.
Nice.
Ever have to do that? He was asking James, I think, but
You did something when I was gone one time that.
I don't know what an auger is. However, when he was deployed, one of my children decided, we had this little toy, Scuba Leo, like from Little Einsteins. He was wearing a scuba suit, and one of the kids decided to flush him down the toilet. And he was about this big, that you're on a phone, that doesn't relay very well. Like 3 inches tall, maybe. And so then I had to Google how to get it out of the toilet, and I couldn't find it. And then I was like reading all these horror stories that if it gets past the toilet down into the pipes, and they have to take apart the house. And so I decided to watch a few YouTube videos and unseat the toilet. And it was up in the S curve, and
Boom.
then I had to replace the wax ring and then like hacksaw off some bolts, and it worked. I got it back together, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
if you could just figure out, how to wire the Wayland dash cam that you
Oh, why you gotta go there?
have. Because you've
Okay.
been watching videos for like weeks to try to figure this out.
Because, okay, guys, I bet Josh is gonna comment here in a second and tell me how to do it. Okay. Okay, so we got the Wayland's 360. I have already watched the video on how to install it by Wayland's, so I don't need that. However, we've got an active wire. I don't know, there's 3 different wires. One's a ground, one's an active, and one's a switch, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got the Wayland's figured out-ish, except I don't know how many amps it has to have, or if it matters. I just know that I have to figure out which of the fuses is an active and which one is the switch. And then make sure that they're not like key components for the van so I don't break it. Yeah. So I haven't put it together yet.
Bum, bum, bum.
So if anybody's local, knows how to install a dash cam, I honestly think it will take you 10 minutes. It seems very simple.
They're all
Nothing.
different. They can be wired differently. You can wire it directly to the battery. You can wire it through the fuse box. You're trying to wire it through the fuse box, like
Yes.
inside the compartment.
Yes,
like
and
the driver's compartment.
The driver's side fuse box.
Yeah,
That's all. That's all I need to do.
yeah.
That's it.
Which is
I just didn't want to pay like $300 to get somebody to do it for me.
Yeah.
But now I'm actively higher amps. Right.
Hmm.
Active would be higher amp. Switch is just to tell when the key's on. Yeah, like because the active one is for the parking mode, so that the Waylands will watch the car when I'm not in it.
Yeah.
So it always has power. Yeah.
Isn't your like a?
Sledgehammer to the toilet. No.
Don't you have a time frame for the Wayland before you can return it?
I have 30 days.
And you haven't even installed it yet. So.
I'm.
What?
I know. There's dash cam uploads to the internet straight away.
Yeah, this one has that capability.
This one, okay, so this one is the Wayland's newest one. It's the 360 with the 4G. So once I get it put in the car, I can start the 4G part. So it'll actually have access to a cell, like cell towers and things, so it can upload automatically. It's pretty cool. That's all.
Word.
Nobody
Right.
requests a service manual from the manufacturer. Yeah.
What?
Oh. Dash cam up. Yep, I read that one. Which one of you guys would come to Hattiesburg, MS, Minnesota? I don't know.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. And do some audits. There's a pic of our sheriff on the paper flipping it
Or
off
is-
the public. No,
No,
wait.
That's just Missouri.
Mississippi?
Missouri.
I don't know. Let's
don't know.
see. I think I'm behind. Mississippi. James Freeman safe word is pineapple juice. Good. Good to know. I think I missed something.
Maybe they didn't get off the whole manscaping thing.
Oh, that's gotta be it.
Yeah.
Oh, they're funny. Cobra HD cam is a great option. There's an owl cam. Is a
Mississippi, huh? Yeah, I want to do some traveling and pair up with people and do different things, and so we have some of that hopefully coming up this year.
yeah.
So keep us. You can email us. It'd probably be best if you want to have a specific place you want us to go check out. Email is insightisfree@gmail.com.
Yep.
And yeah, if you just want to catch up or whatever, you can also call the phone throughout the week if you want to talk.
Yeah. Not this number, but the
360-226-6297 number.
yes.
Yeah, I think it's on our videos. So, all right.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Mrs. Justice, this is defend. Will Mike do an audit of an ADA office and educate the people on the role of an ADA coordinator?
I've been trying to.
Oh.
Actually, the PUD has a. So I think the way that the ADA literature reads is that if you have a company of 50 or more people, you're supposed to have an ADA facilitator or coordinator for your company. Now, I think you may be asking about at the federal level. Is that what you're asking about? Like the actual ADA, if they actually have people?
That would be interesting to see if their
Yeah.
offices are
I have
ADA
no, I have no
compliant.
idea where they are.
I don't either.
I know there's different state level stuff that have basically. I think that's internal. So each department has their own facilitator or coordinator. I don't think they have departments of ADA at different levels. I think the only one that exists is at the federal level. Could be wrong, but I think that's how that works. But I have been trying to get the ADA coordinator at the PUD to sit down and talk about different things. She said, email me. That's her response. So, which is interesting.
All right. Later, Boomer. Boomer's gone.
Yeah, we're gonna end this.
We're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for hanging out, guys.
It's rambling.
Gals.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a lot of rambling.
All over the place. Wood chippers and
Lawnmowers.
chopping up my gooch.
Superman and Lois Flannel. I'm Lois Flannel. I'm wearing a flannel shirt this evening.
Nice.
Oh, last time I got picked on because I changed clothes multiple times, but I didn't actually change clothes. I had a blanket. First I had a tank top, then I had a blanket, then I had a sweater. I should have just ended it. You don't care.
I don't.
Good night, guys.
All right.
Flannel's the best. Yep. Later. I'm gonna
Peace and love.